Am I the fool for saying family therapy is a waste of time and I'm done? So my dad and stepmom decided my stepbrother, 17 male, and I, 15 female, need therapy. They got married 6 years ago, and we're not the close family they thought they were making at the time. The 2 children they have together did not bring us all closer together. My stepbrother and I don't call them our parents. I call dad my dad, and he's my parent. Stepmom is stepbrother's mom and his only parent. My mom died and his dad walked out on him 10 years ago. So we didn't go through the same stuff or anything. Anyway, when we started therapy we were all asked why we were there. My dad said he did not feel like my stepbrother or I had really let the family change in our hearts. Stepmom said she felt as though we had no real connection to each other and they needed to try and change that before it was too late. My stepbrother said we were there because his mom wanted to force a new dad on him. I said we were there because they didn't get the image they had of the new family we'd be when they got married and that I think deep down they realized the fact neither of us was excited or totally on board with all becoming a stepfamily has played out exactly as it was always going to, and they want to see if they can mold us into their vision more. Last week we had a session and we had to do this weird questionnaire. The counselor said she wanted to see how well we all knew each other. So the question was what is their favorite food, favorite color, and favorite thing to do. On my list, she included my mom and my little brother, who died the same time as our mom. This was on top of each other and the stepfamily members, including my half-siblings. When we handed them back up, she asked my dad about my mom and brother's favorite things, and confirmed my answers were right. Both he and stepmom asked why they had been listed on them. The counselor pointed out that I knew theirs really well and I knew dad's old favorites, not current ones, but nobody else's. My stepbrother didn't know anyone's. Stepmom didn't know mine or most of her sons, and dad knew most of mine, but not everything. After we left the session, with instructions to reflect but not fight about what we discovered that day, my dad and stepmom were pretty damn pissed and she was hurt that I knew what my brother had liked before he died and he was only 4 but not any of my new living family members. My stepmom said I could remember my mom and brother so well and knew dad before so well that it shows I didn't even try to get to know the rest of them as well. I said I thought that would be pretty obvious. They said I need to start working harder in therapy because they're paying to fix things. I told them it's a waste of time then and I'm done. Because clearly we're going for one purpose and we don't all share the same objective for it. They got super mad at me and later got super mad at my stepbrother as well. They wanted me to swear I will change my mind or else I'll be difficult for no real reason. Am I the fool?
Am I the fool for running away in the middle of a date with my girlfriend to help my mother? Hello Reddit. Long-time dweller, first-time posting. Burning account for obvious reasons. So I, 22 male, have been dating my girlfriend Susan, 21 female, not her real name, for a year now. Things have been great between us as we keep good communication. I'm posting this 2 days after her birthday, which is also the time where the incident happened. I'd like to say that I'm very romantic, and my girlfriend can vouch that for me. As for her birthday, I had planned a whole long day schedule of her favorite activities, along with some extras I poked here and there, like taking her to the movies, going out to Red Lobster, despite me not enjoying seafood at all, and some more. This is the part where my mother Claudia, 42 female, again, not a real name, comes into play. Due to medical issues, she's prone to having sudden epileptic attacks with no prior warning, so me and my stepdad Robert, 52 male, not a real name, have always been on the lookout and wary of this, hence we are in contact at least once a day. Now, my girlfriend is very well aware of this, and I've warned her since day one. This never bothered her, and she's been always supportive of me and my father. I've grown close to him and call him dad sometimes, although my mom's attacks have gotten in the way of our hangouts once or twice before. We were out at Red Lobster, and we were midway through our meal when I got a call. I picked up the phone since it was my stepdad. I might be the asshole here, because I just dropped everything and took off running. As you all can expect, my mother had an attack and my dad told me to come over. Though, by the time I arrived, my stepdad told me that things were under control, and that it was just a scare because she suddenly felt dizzy, lightheaded, and her head started to hurt. I thought that'd be the end of it, but it turned out to be a true attack, as she started to have a seizure in the living room and we had to rush her to the doctor. It took a good 30 minutes for her to stabilize, and I called my girlfriend to let her know that mom was okay, and that if she wanted, we could resume our date. She told me that she didn't want to anymore, and that I was an asshole for leaving her like that and ruining her special day, which she's told her friends, who've sent me messages telling me how much of an asshole I am. So Reddit, am I the fool? Update 1. Hello again Reddit. A lot of stuff has happened the past days, and I don't even know where to start or where my head is at right now. It just feels surreal right now. Many of you will be displeased to hear this, but me and my girlfriend are still together. Apologies to those who commented but didn't got a reply. I did read each and every comment, and took them to heart. Even the ones that came out rougher on the edges. It was eye-opening, to say the least. It made me realize a lot of stuff. The same day of the original post, I messaged my girlfriend to talk with her. She told me she was at her parents' house, so I went over and we had a talk. I apologized for leaving so abruptly without making sure she was okay, but that I didn't know any better since that's what I was raised like and what I was taught. She said she understood and apologized for slandering me with her friends, but only wanted her opinion validated. Okay, no biggie. I told her if she ever felt second in line whenever it came to my mother, and she said yes. This was making me open my eyes more and more to the situation at hand, like the comments were pointing out. I admit I cried a bit and my girlfriend held me and consoled me. I went to sleep on it, and next morning, I took my leave to go confront my parents. My girlfriend insisted in tagging along, but understood when I told her that this was something I had to do on my own. I arrived at my parents' place, and my mom greeted me like nothing happened. She felt something was off when I didn't reply, and I told her to sit down and have a talk with me. She looked really worried. I was blunt and outright asked if she was really sick, because the more I thought of it, the more I recall the comments calling me out and her behavior, the more odd it looked. Did she really have seizures? If she has seizures, why does she have her husband call me instead of an ambulance? I pointed out how if those were real seizures, like I've read online, she'd be either aggressive towards us or have no idea of who she is and where she is and why. As a few Redditors suspected, she doesn't have seizures. It just turned out to be a controlling movement on her side to keep me around and short-leashed. It was one of the worst feelings I've ever experienced, and it genuinely made me nauseous. My whole life was built on a lie. You can tell the turmoil, anger, sadness, shock, disappointment, everything going down to me at once. And then, why stepfather walked in. I only asked him once if he was a part into this, and he couldn't look me in the eye. Right then and there, I knew that I had no family anymore, so I left. On my way to work, I started getting bombarded with calls and texts from her, but I simply blocked her and ignored her. So here's where I'm sitting at right now. Am I the fool for saying no to babysitting my sister's almost stepson during her wedding? My sister Lee, 28 female, is getting married to Daniel, 30 female, in 2 weeks. Daniel has an 8-year-old son called Kingsley. Last week Lee asked me if I, 20 male, would babysit Kingsley during the wedding. She said Daniel's parents were supposed to do it but they were refusing, and it had become such a big argument that she thought of me. I asked her why Daniel's parents were saying no, and she said they were worried about Kingsley's behavior. I asked her why she'd think I would want to, and she told me because I want her to enjoy her wedding, and because I'm a great little brother and to think about it as bonding with my almost nephew. I told her I didn't want to deal with his anger and tantrums, and that there was no way we'd be bonding when he doesn't want his dad to get married again. Lee told me they needed someone to do it because if he makes a scene it would delay the whole wedding if she or Daniel has to deal with it. She told me he might not be happy, he might be missing his mom. Kingsley's mom died, but she and Daniel are doing everything to help him through this and to show him that he has a bigger family now and doesn't need to chase her off or reject her. She said she is showing him that she will always be around even if he hates it right now. And for things to go well she needs me to come through for her. I still said no and Lee was upset. She and Daniel called me 2 days later and asked if I would reconsider if they paid me. I told them I wouldn't and suggested they use that money and hire someone if they really want Kingsley to have a babysitter. Lee tried begging, but Daniel was pissed at that point and told me I was throwing away the chance to help my sister and get to know his son. Am I the fool? Am I the fool for going off on my in-laws and telling them I don't trust them? My wife, 34 female, and I, 37 male, have been married for 4 years and have 2 little boys, 3 and 1. Both our kids have had their fair share of minor health issues. Multiple ear infections that led to ear tubes in our 3-year-old, flu, RSV, HFM, etc. It's been a lot in a few short years, and sometimes I genuinely wonder how we've made it through. My brother has a running joke that we are single-handedly putting our pediatrician's kids through college. We both have family nearby to help, which has been a lifesaver at times. This past weekend, my wife's mom and stepdad offered to take the boys to a nearby park to give us a break for a couple hours. When they got back to our house, our 1-year-old was crying and upset, and they told us he just seemed really tired and or hungry. My in-laws made some jokes about us not letting them watch the kids again, then left, and we got the kids some food and put them down for a nap. When the 1-year-old woke up, he still seemed out of it and was unable to put weight on his left leg. At this point we knew something was up, so we took him to urgent care. On the way there, my wife called her mom to ask her if anything happened, and she said he might have had a fall on one of the slides. The doctors ended up doing an x-ray and found a minor spiral fracture. So now he's in a cast, but thankfully won't require surgery. The doctor even told us these types of fractures are common in kids my son's age, and even called it a toddler's fracture. We again called my in-laws to try and get more info, but they, at least to me, seemed to dance around our questions. A couple days ago, I took our 3-year-old to the same park and asked him what happened to his little brother. He said that his brother was on the slide with grandma, but slid down by himself, fell off the end, went boom and got an OWI. I told my wife about this and we called her mom again. We told her what our 3-year-old said and asked her what happened. She said that what our 3-year-old said isn't true, but didn't give us a straight answer as to how our 1-year-old got hurt. At this point I had enough and ended up going off on them. I told them I feel like they are trickle-truthing us or straight up lying about what happened. I told them that they either know exactly how our son got hurt and aren't telling us, or they don't know what happened because they weren't paying attention. I told them neither are acceptable and I have lost all trust in them. I told them that by withholding information they put our son's health at risk, and I will never tolerate that. Stepdad asked if I am believing a 3-year-old over them, and I told them I 100% am. My wife ended the call abruptly when she thought I was going too far. We ended arguing about it because she thinks I am blaming her mom for an accident and that I shouldn't be calling them liars about this. I told her I don't want her mom and stepdad to watch either of our kids unsupervised under any circumstances, which she disagrees with. Am I the fool for asking my wife to do her responsibilities? A little about me: I am 30, and my wife is 29. Before we got married, we knew each other for 3 years. We decided I would be the sole earner, responsible for finances and taxes, while she would be a housewife, taking care of the kids and household duties. We agreed she would never work, and I wouldn't ask her to either. In the first 2 years of our marriage, we didn't have kids. I worked from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Sometimes she'd wake up and make me breakfast, sometimes she wouldn't. I didn't mind because we were early in our marriage. On days she made breakfast, she would also pack me lunch. On days she didn't wake up early, I would eat both breakfast and lunch at work. She would wake up around 12 to 2 p.m., do household chores, and wait for me to come home. We would have dinner together and spend time going out for movies, dinners, or visiting friends, at least twice a week. This year, we had a baby. I took 1 month of leave to help her, which is the maximum my job allows. State leave was an option, because the subsidized pay wouldn't cover our bills. After my leave, her parents stayed with us for 2 months, helping with the baby. I supported all the household bills during this time. After they left, our baby was 3 months old, and this is when issues began. My wife was used to her previous routine of waking up late and now found it difficult to manage caring for the baby and household chores. I offered to help by cleaning the first floor of our house and putting our baby to bed several times a week, despite working from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., handling all immigration paperwork, taxes, bills, and grocery shopping, since she doesn't drive. However, every day I come home, she seems angry or upset, often taking it out on me. Sometimes it's about the baby, sometimes it's about me not helping enough around the house. Today, we had an argument where I asked why she was consistently struggling with her responsibilities. I acknowledged that she had an easier life in the first 2 years of our marriage because she didn't work, but reminded her that we had planned for this baby and understood it would require more work. We had agreed she would be the primary caretaker and housewife, but now, she would not stop complaining and we can't stop having fights. Am I the fool for asking her to fulfill her share of the household responsibilities?